if you are going with the career killer gimmick, you can't stop now.
Right.
He's only done 2. And if you look at Cena, if he knew AJ's going to be out in a few months, we're going to have Gunther take him out. Of course, I was like, absolutely. I'll put him over. Yeah, absolutely. Give me Gunther as the last match.
Yeah.
Because now we got Goldberg, John Cena, and AJ Styles in a span of 7 to 8 months. And we know we still have Brock Lesnar through Cena's mouth
Right.
about a big show
Around
in Minnesota. And I know Brock's looking at hanging up and retiring also. There are some people who feel like that could be Opa Femi spot. I wouldn't do that. I would give that to Gunther.
And that could be a topic later too. I think I would give that. There's not a think about it. I would give that to Gunther.
I would give all that equity to Gunther and then have Gunther and Oba
Lose
face.
Oba. There we go.
And have Oba just run through him.
Yep.
Holy hell. He is now the guy. The main story of this show probably needs to be AJ Styles and his future. AJ Styles on Monday Night Raw was confronted by Gunther, and AJ Styles said, hey, you know you cheated. I need another piece of that ass at the Royal Rumble.
No pause. We starting off already?
And Gunther said,
piece of that ass?
all right, you want to do that? Put your career on the line. And the crowd, ooh, oh. AJ, as any upstanding man would do.
Man, for real. He got kudo points.
Had to go
right
call
there.
his
Brownie
wife.
points. Brownie points for that.
AJ said, shit, hold on. $1 million contract. I'll be at home a lot. Hey, man, you mind if I call my wife? And Pierce, being an upstanding individual, married man, also said, you probably need to go ahead and call your wife.
Go do that.
Right? He comes back a few seconds later, said, the wife said what I thought she'd say, kick his ass. So, we have at the Royal Rumble, Gunther versus AJ Styles. If AJ Styles loses, that career is donezo. So what do you think, Rhodesia? Now that you see this match is official, next weekend in Saudi, AJ Styles versus Gunther for AJ's career.
AJ's come out and said that he's pretty much at the end of his career. How much longer it's taken for him to, after a match, getting his body back to be able to perform and just feel good. So we knew 2026 is going to be it. But damn, he wasted no time. It was like, okay, 2026 is here. Let's rock this out. I thought it was a little bit premature. If this was his last year, I feel like AJ Styles deserves more of a send-off. So I think that for me, this would be, he should lose. He should end his career. Gunther should eliminate him because that is the story that they have told with Gunther. As far as Goldberg, as far as Cena, and now we're here with AJ Styles. And I would think that it would be very disappointing and like disjointed if he doesn't retire AJ Styles. So for the record, yes, AJ Styles should lose. He should retire by the hands of Gunther coming up. My only reason, and that's it,
right?
Yes, but I feel like it's disrespectful to AJ.
Well, then you don't believe that he should lose next Saturday. Then, if you think it's disrespectful to AJ,
then I feel like,
that's your answer. Then no, don't do it.
But I feel like AJ would be okay with retiring right now to tell that bigger story. Because again, when you leave, you want to leave the business better than what you found it. So if he can add on to that story of Gunther being the almighty big bad guy, and I'm down for whatever he wants to do. The same energy I was on with Cena, like whatever you want to do in your final time in your career, you deserve it. You've earned it. You've put enough wear and tear on your body. So that's where I'm just getting at. I'm like, AJ, I feel like he deserves more of a send off. But if this is what he wants to do, then he should lose to tell the story for the better of the business. So if I had to pick, yes, he should be retired by Gunther.
I mean, when you say he deserves more of a send-off, I don't know how much more of a send-off you can do than losing at a major top 3 stadium pay-per-view. I don't know what more an AJ Styles would warrant. Remember, AJ Styles is the guy who said he didn't even think he would have a match with John Cena where he was pegged out on
Yeah.
the card, right? So we
Mhm.
can't go from AJ feeling like at this point I am just a mid-card act to, 3-4 months later to, oh man, we need this grandiose send-off. So I
I
don't,
didn't say that. That's not what I said. What I just said more of a send off. Like for me, it would be more of time. If I had to quantify it, if you're saying like, what else can you do? He was a mid Carter. He kind of was like a nobody at one point. That for him to be able to wrestle Cena, and then to hold the tag team championships toward the end of last year and the beginning of this year. Sure, you're right. There's really probably not much more he could do, but I feel like we need more time. I think the people need to know more time ahead that this is gonna be his last 2, 3 months wrestling. And I just don't think we have that. If
well,
you weren't
so
at IWC, you probably didn't know that he said that he's gonna hang it up in 2026.
which is great. We don't need to know because on television, the story is this, which is why it's such a big deal. If we knew it, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Say if everybody knew AJ's contract was up in September, then everybody's looking at SummerSlam as AJ's last
Right.
match. This caught people by surprise because it's like, yo, yeah, we knew allegedly 2026 was it, but yo, first month of 2026, I haven't seen anything official. Okay. And typically, from what I know, contracts are for a 12-month rolling period, right? So AJ Styles debuted at the Royal Rumble. If I'm not mistaken, they've been talking about this whole 2016 thing. I think it was 10 years ago. Okay. So if AJ Styles debuted 10 years ago in WWE, when does that make his contract up? Either January or February. Once again, if we're talking about 3-year deals, 4-year deals, 5-year deals. So if his contract is up in January or February, boy, is this a fantastic time that caught everybody by surprise.
Mhm, mhm. Yep.
For me, when I heard the stipulation, the first thing I thought was like, no,
Mhm.
not yet. That was just the first thing that came to my mind. Like, oh, that's great that they're using it as a storyline. And then before the segment was even over, I was like, ooh, I know I'm in the minority, but this absolutely should be it. Because as I said the night Gunther beat John Cena, if you are going with the career killer gimmick, and we've heard Cole
Yeah.
say it, you can't stop now.
Right.
He's only done 2. He's done 2 in 1 year. And if you look at Cena, and Cena's all about putting people in the best positions, adding to the story. I'm no longer here, so let's do this thing the way it needs to be done. If he knew and he knows, hey, AJ's going to be out in a few months. We're going to have Gunther take him out. Of course, John's like, absolutely. I'll put him over. Yeah, absolutely. Give me Gunther as the last match.
Yeah.
Because now we got Goldberg, John Cena, and AJ Styles in a span of 7 to 8 months. And we know we still have Brock Lesnar through Cena's mouth
Right.
about a big show
Around
in
mhm.
Minnesota. And I know Brock's looking at hanging up and retiring also. There's some people who feel like that could be Opa Femi spot. Of course, I wouldn't do that. I would give that to Gunther.
And that could be a topic later too. I think I would give that there's not to think about it. I would give that to Gunther.
I would give all that equity to Gunther and
Mhm.
then have Gunther and Oba
Lose
face
the elbow. There we go.
and have Oba just run through him.
Yep.
Holy hell. He is
Yep.
now the guy. Right. And then if you want to throw in Chris Jericho, I maybe will leave Chris Jericho out of that because I think AJ Styles, Bill Goldberg, John Cena, and Brock Lesnar is more than enough for you to retire in a 12-month span. Right. We don't
Absolutely.
need that story with Chris
Mhm.
Jericho.
That'd be
Yeah, I'm
like
sure
overkill.
Jericho would
That'd be
sign
overkill.
more. Yeah. And I'm sure he would sign more than a 8-month deal or whatever the case may be, because this works so good because of the time frame behind it. Holy hell, are you kidding me? So, I thought through all that. Then I said, okay, well, if they don't want to do that yet, there's still a way to, because I'm always like, what's next? And it was so funny. Triple H said that a few times on Unreal. And this is one of the things where I talked about Obafemi over a year ago when people were clamoring for him to be called up then. And I said, okay, like this is that guy that you can't fuck up at all. You got to make sure you do him right.
Mhm.
And to hell with
Yep.
the first storyline feud is going to be. What's the third storyline feud? What's the fourth? Like you got to have that kind of pegged already. If not, you're dead in the water. Okay, great. Somebody had an incredible debut first month, and then what? If you don't have the proper follow up behind it. So I'm like, for Gunther, what's next for Gunther? Like, what is Gunther's North Star for WrestleMania? And who knows what that is right now? But if you don't have that answer, then maybe you do AJ. So maybe in Saudi, this match has only been announced for less than 2 weeks before the actual event. If you wanted to do this, have a DQ finish, you get a Gunther beat down at the end, whatever, leave AJ laying. And then we go AJ and Gunther again at WrestleMania, and that's AJ's last match.
Now I can sign up for that.
Tap him out, powerbomb him all the way to hell, and then
Mhm.
AJ leaves, his gloves in the ring.
Yep.
Right, and we get the whole
Beautiful.
thing. Oh my God. And the Gunther could still say he retired him,
Mhm.
and you got 3 months out of this. Because what did I say when AJ was the first person to
meet or to
confront
Gunther. Yep.
Gunther after he beat John Cena? I said, damn, already? Like,
Yep.
wow, okay. I didn't think this would be already. Well, now it's starting to make sense.
Mhm.
Because once again, you have coined him as the career killer. This is the
Yep.
time. In time being, if this is what you guys are going with right now, well, this is the guy to retire him. There is nothing more AJ can do this year. I don't want to see a world title run with him. He just had a fun, quick tag team title run, right? He
That was
was,
pretty great.
feuding. He was trying to feud with Dominic over the IC title, so we got to see a little bit of comedy there. We got to see him in the John Cena. He's good. Yeah, we would miss him because we look at him and say, damn, dude, you're still doing it at a high level. He hit the one splash off the top rope or off the third
Off
rope
the top.
on the Gunther's leg, and you're just like, yo, man, you even made a comment when it happened. I'm just watching this guy. I'm like, yo, I know Cena said he ain't got no more, and you can argue. Of course, I think he did have more if he wanted to. You can work around people's limitations in wrestling. That's why a lot of wrestlers can work so far in, because now we're using our brains instead of using all of our physical attributes. But we've seen it all from AJ. We don't need any more. The other thing, too, you made a comment earlier about the wording.
Yeah.
First thing I thought was, no way. Second thing I thought was, this is perfect timing. Third thing I thought was, is this a play to get him in TNA?
And I would be so against that. So against that.
And there you go, right?
So
but he is known as the
against
TNA
that.
guy.
I get that, but I would be so
for him
against
to
that. I
lose
would
to
hate that.
Gunther,
I
then to
would
go
hate
to
that.
TNA for a year, that's a significant and drastic step down. And he said retire. It'll help TNA's business, boy. I'll tell you that much.
I would.
It really
so
would.
Hate that.
But I just think you don't do that. You don't do that.
No, but especially if he's talking about his body's not going to be able to keep doing that, but then you go to another company. So then now you've just even discredited the other company. So if it is a situation where he's like, okay, maybe I have 5 matches a year out of me left, you can absolutely do that within WWE. If he's saying he's leaving wrestling because his body, only to find out that he's going to work somewhere else, that would just be a lose-lose for everybody. Now, people who love TNA and who loves AJ Styles, they may think it's a win, but I just think like, okay, so now you have conceded to getting second-rate AJ Styles. If AJ is done, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, if you book it out to Mania, he needs to be done.
Through the hands of Gunther.
Through the hands of Gunther.
Through the hands of Gunther. Because now you got to go all in. Because if not, this was a waste.